Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about affirmative action, diversity hiring, and man. Because I believe that within this issue are the seeds for the destruction of Western civilization. But before I get into it, let me just say thank you to everybody who's been stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, even donating. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the Howard Dare channel. There's a lot of great content. It'll help me grow my channel, and I would really appreciate it. Now, let's talk about affirmative action, diversity hiring, and man. Because, as I said, I believe within this issue are the seeds for the destruction of Western civilization. Now, the systems that man builds or that evolve out of necessity over time, which are required to be effective. Okay, we don't build tools, whether it be a spear, a wall, or a language, or mathematics. We don't build a tool for nothing. In other words, the spear must function effectively as a spear, or we throw it away as a useless stick. So what the spear is evolves. The same with a wall, the same with a house, the same with anything that man tries to do. It's governed by its effectiveness in reality. We are problem-solving machines that overcome obstacles in reality to achieve our desires. That's what's going on here, okay? The individual life form wants something, usually food, shelter, protection, okay? With whatever mind it has, it formulates a plan, a way to achieve what it wants. Maybe it wants a banana that's, too high for it to reach, right? So it starts to come up with ideas. It tries to find a stick. It tries to find something to climb on. It tries to find a way to climb up. It tries to find someone else to go get the banana for them. Right? Maybe it'll stand there and start to cry. Does that sound familiar? So that's what all of the life forms do. They overcome the obstacles in reality. Problem-solving machines, biological problem-solving machines. And man, with his ability, with his intelligence, he is able to overcome all the most obstacles and reshape the world in his image to suit his purposes, his wants, his needs. And the degree to which he could do that is largely the degree to which he is successful. Women, of course, are not really like that. They have all the, most all of the capabilities that the man has, but that's not how they get by in the world so much. They get by attaching themselves to a man, or the men will create a government, a society, a civilization, a set of laws, codes, behaviors, practices to take care of the women. And again, it is born out of necessity. The systems that did not fulfill the required requirements were discarded. So reality and obstacles have this way of ferreting out the weak and the ideas that don't work. So life is constantly improving upon itself and its efficiency. It's an evolving system. It improves upon itself. But again, now let's bring into that, so that's where we're at. That's what we do. That's what all the life forms do. The ants, build their hive. Okay, and if it's a well-designed hive and something goes wrong, they can all go out the back door. They'll be fine. Look, I'm sorry that I flooded out the ants when I was a little boy several times, okay? But again, I'm kind of like helping evolution along. The smart ants made it. The ones who had planned properly, they made it. Thus evolved Planet of the Ants, right? And I believe that we are witnessing the dawn of the Planet of the Ants. Okay, sorry. So, something that fascinates me is the vastness of the systems that man can create. And, for example, if you'll look at the searches that are done on Google, right, and you'll just get the total number, or on other search engines, it reveals something about human nature. What are we looking for? And when you see it from this distance, and this perspective of, what are the searches, it can be a little upsetting, right? Because, anyway, the vastness of the system is what I'm talking about, though. Do you think that the first humans who started building shelters for themselves could have ever imagined something like New York City? Right? Like that they didn't build shelters for themselves. They ran into shelter, away from danger. Can you imagine what enterprise and energy and sheer commitment and vision the idea of building walls must have taken for human beings? I've spoken about this, coming out of the Stone Age, the Neolithic age, the new Stone Age, where man would be moving from the idea of just finding shelter and, enhancing it maybe setting, some sort of traps and deterrents around him, to outright building walls and building cities. Again, I'm talking about the vastness, the hugeness of a system, just like with the Google searches, right? Like you get this insight into what people are looking for. People are also looking, for shelter, for security, and they're building it. The men are, overcoming, fulfilling this want and desire that reality places upon them. And eventually, we have the major cities of the world, the vastness of the system, the efficiency of the system, the complexity of the system, the simplicity of the system built up, to this huge level. It becomes very impersonal as well. And then you start looking at it from that point of view. And you say, oh, that's wrong. People shouldn't be allowed to search for those things. Or you say, oh, that's wrong. The city is huge. It's a monstrosity. It's heartless. We have to do something about it. And you look at, and the reason why I'm making this point is that in any sort of a business, in any sort of an enterprise, let's say you're forming a hunting party, Neolithic, right? We're back in time again. And you're bringing the people who are good at hunting with you. That's it. And you're not bringing people who are bad at hunting, because they're actually going to get in the way of getting the job done. And I'm, of course, talking about affirmative action and diversity hiring. It would be like saying, it's my turn to go on the hunt. It's my turn to lead the hunt. It's like, well, you're no good at that. You're a tool builder. So you stay here and build the tools, and we'll bring the people who are good at hunting out on the hunt. It's like, well, that seems hardly fair. Why don't you have people that have bad vision and are easily scared and make a lot of noise? Why don't you bring them on the hunt? Well, it's like, because they can't contribute, they're not very good at it, and they get in the way. They'll actually scare the prey away. They'll actually stop us from doing our job. They'll slow us down. They'll make too much noise. So, the point I'm making is that the things that we do them out of necessity, largely. Now, let's go ahead and jump into modern time, okay? Because you've got a group of kids and they're at school, and there's a school play, and you want to give every kid a decent part in the play. But you can't. Some of the kids get to be the lead. Some of the kids have to stand in the background as trees. It's just the way it is. But the next play that you put on, it's for kids, you rotate it. You pick the other kids. Assuming that the first play wasn't a complete disaster. And this seems fair. Because you're not really putting on a play, are you? No, you're not. You're teaching kids how to put on a play, and you're having some fun with it, and you're hoping, for them to learn a little bit through it. Spark their interest, maybe. You could also understand why a group of workers on the assembly line floor might look up at the management of the company and say, there's no one like us up there. That's right, there's no one like them up there. Resentment. The company, the system, has been built to solve a problem. The people have their jobs based on their abilities, not based on any sort of macro assessment of fairness based on demographics, based on population density. That's not what solved the problem originally. Remember, we overcome the obstacles. We build the tools. The company is a tool. It's not a school play. It's like a spear that has to perform a function. And the people within the company They're like the people going out on the hunting party. Only the people who can hunt need to go out on the hunting party. Otherwise, they're actually a detriment to getting the job done. Now, are there other jobs for them? Sure, there's other jobs for them. They can build the tools. But can a child or a woman, a weak woman, can a pregnant woman lead the hunt? Can she be in charge? Of course not. That's absurd. That's retarded. Is it her turn to lead the hunting party? Well, if it is, you're not going to get any food, are you? You're probably going to get hurt. But let me just say that the idea that demographic population representation is going to dictate how we fill positions of responsibility and authority, as opposed to merit and ability to fulfill the function of those positions, is a kind of collectivization, a kind of Marxism, a kind of leftist ideology applied to achievement itself. It really is saying that a person who is highly skilled and highly accomplished is no different from a person who has no skills and is not accomplished, and that the important factor in deciding who should have positions of authority, responsibility, and value and status is in fact demographics, population representation. For example, half of all positions of importance should be filled by women because women are half the population, regardless of their qualifications, regardless of the man who built the business or the woman who built the business. So you see, it is a way to steal private property from the people who have earned the private property. It is collectivism. There's a lot to say on this subject and how devastating the idea of this type of social justice is. I don't care what percentage women represent of airplane pilots. It is accomplishment and ability that determines whether or not somebody is a pilot, not population representation, not how well they can play the victim. So this is what the left does. This is what a resentful class of people do, to tear down the productive, decent, free people in a free society. This is how they destroy the fabric of society and destroy what they themselves cannot accomplish. I'm going to talk about this subject a lot more because there's a lot more to say on it. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.